Welcome to the Art of Money podcast with Art McPherson.
Thanks for listening to the Art of Money podcast, artofmoneyradio.com for more information or to schedule that initial consultation. Appreciate you subscribing. Now, let's get to the show. Gentlemen, there was a Lincoln Financial survey that found that 60% of retirees said they'd go back and plan their retirement differently if they could. And over 63% regretted not including investments that provided a steady income stream. So, Art, Luke, for those that haven't yet retired, how can you help them avoid this need and this feeling that they need a do-over?
Well, one of the things that I think people really struggle with when they enter the retirement zone is it is a completely different game when you're taking retirement distributions. So the average person, when they really kind of got serious about saving money, we're putting 10, 15, sometimes 20% of their money or more aside over a long period of time. But they were contributing. So every time they went through a major correction like 2008, 2009, they were buying through that whole dip cycle. So it's what we call dollar cost averaging. So if you go through an 08, 09 event and you have an IRA that you're not funding, it's just kind of what we call debt account. It's just sitting there, but you're not putting money in it. It takes about 3 or 4 years to come back with no contributions added to it. Well, if you're doing contributions from your 401k, it only took the average person 1 to 2 years to recover from that because of all those dollars being added. But if you take the same person that had to go through 08 and 09, which was a 50% correction, and they're taking distributions from their 401k at that time or their IRAs, it took them 7 to 8 years to recover that money. So it can make a huge impact. And when we go through these corrections like that, major market shifts, major market corrections can really devastate a portfolio. And we call it sequencing of returns. And you can actually start your retirement, have a major correction at the beginning of your retirement, and you can end up running out of money because of it. So you want to make sure that you don't have every dollar at high risk. And we actually have firms today that don't believe in annuities. They don't believe in being conservative. They put all your money at risk, but then you have to live through those big market cycles like that. And they can be devastating if you start retirement and have to go through a period just like that.
Yeah, that's a good regret, of course, is too much risk, right? Or not enough income. One of the main regrets I see is, oh my gosh, Luke, why didn't I put all this money into the Roth 30 years ago? Or why haven't I been contributing to the Roth? Well, the Roth probably wasn't around 30 years ago. It definitely was not around in your 401k 30 years ago. But what I see is that clients, I want $10,000 a month. Okay, well, it's going to cost you $12,000 because of taxes, right? And that could put an additional distribution that the portfolio may or may not keep up with. And so the taxation piece is what I see as kind of the biggest regret. But I will say, you have 2.5 years, right, including the last half of this year and the next 2 years from what we personally believe is going to be the lowest tax period or tax brackets of, I hate to even put a time frame to it, maybe not your life, but for a long time, right? The government's overspending, right? There's too much debt. They're going to have to raise taxes. Taxes are going to be raised if nothing happens anyways. So taxes are going up. So if you haven't had the opportunity to contribute to a Roth 401k, or a Roth IRA, consider Roth conversions in the next 2.5 years.
And the reason Luke is saying taxes are going up, the way our current code was when Trump got that approved, it was a 10-year period. It was temporary. So what happens is the code gets repealed back to the old code. So everybody that's in a 12% bracket right now goes to 15. Everybody that's in a 22 goes back to 25. Everybody that's in a 24 goes back to 28, and so on. So and the income amounts drop. So right now you can have a lot of income and stay in a pretty low bracket. That changes back to the old levels. So we are trying to take advantage of the lower tax schedule now before it just kind of sunsets back to the old code.
Yeah, if you are making the same money today on paper as you are in 2026, you will pay approximately 20 to 30% higher taxes. So they're going up. Now, of course, your income could change where maybe you're just on Social Security or you're living off of cash or certain things where your income may not go up, but the tax brackets are going up.
I was waiting for you to say, is there any bracket that's going to go down? You said if you're paying this, it's going up. If you're paying this, it's going up.
No, it's all going up. I mean, we have some clients that, have the ability to live off of cash for a couple years, right, to get, free health care till 65, right? Well, in that scenario, your taxes are zero, but eventually it catches up to you because if you have an IRA, if you have a 401k, when you take money out of that, it's ordinary income, right? If you have stocks in a taxable account, like a joint account or a trust account, That's capital gains tax. I mean, there's all sorts of ways you're going to pay taxes, and we believe they're going up.
321-425-8550. That was a month of shame right there. I don't like that at all.
2.5 years, right? My personal plan is changing in 2.5 years. No more kids, just financially. Right? The way my family saves money and the way we're doing things will probably change because, as yours probably should too.
So you talk about having a tax strategy. You mentioned a Roth IRA. What are some of the other ways that we can build a tax strategy to kind of at least protect us from taxes that are eventually going to go up?
Yeah, so the Roth IRA, so you can either contribute to it or you can do a conversion into it. The largest way to move the most amount of money tax efficiently is by saying today I want to pay 12% or 22 or 24% today and move as much money as you can in order to pay those tax rates because taxes are going up. So that's the biggest one is a Roth conversion. If you think about it from a legacy standpoint, life insurance can be very beneficial. Using tax loss harvesting in a taxable account can be very beneficial to save you on capital gains tax, but I'd say the main one is a Roth conversion.
Explain tax loss harvesting and what that means, Luke.
Yeah, so tax loss harvesting, if you have a taxable account, right, so not a retirement account, right, you took money out of the bank, you put it in your single name, joint account, trust account, and you own, the S&P 500, right? Well, if you just own the Vanguard S&P 500, you're up, right, call it 15 to 18% right now. Well, you couldn't capture any losses. If you owned those sectors that are in the S&P 500, right, all 12 of them, right, certain things this year are down while, technology is very high. So when certain things inside your investments lose money, right, it's always going to happen. Not everything goes up all together at the same time. You can actually sell one of those funds or one of those stocks and buy something similar. So you can sell it on paper. You can get a paper loss. Right, the best example of this is Lowe's and Home Depot. Right, if you own Lowe's right now, right, if you look at a chart of Lowe's and Home Depot, they pretty much do the exact same thing. Right, they pretty much have the same things, different colors. Right, orange versus blue. But if you own Lowe's, and if Lowe's was down 10%, right, theoretically Home Depot would be down around there. You sell Lowe's, you buy Home Depot. When they both rebound together, you just captured a loss on paper, but you didn't really lose the money because you just bought something similar that moved in the same fashion. So it is a very powerful tool if used correctly. The IRS has rules trying to prevent you from doing it, but there are written rules of how you can do it.
If you take nothing away from this weekend, realize this. Art McPherson and Luke McCarty just said it. Taxes are going up. What does your tax strategy look like? Let's sit down with the team at the McPherson Financial Group. Let's customize that plan. 321-425-8550. With the help of in-house CPA Mark Bernard, we can customize the plan and take a look at your plan to see what adjustments need to be made. No cost, no obligation to you. artofmoneyradio.com. I want to go back to something, Art, that you mentioned a couple of minutes ago when we were talking about building streams of income in retirement. And you said there's a lot of people out there that don't believe in annuities. You said that's becoming more and more popular. I thought an annuity would be a great opportunity for guaranteed income in retirement. Why are people against them?
It's not that people are against them. It's just they've heard negative information about annuities. So, we have about 2,200 companies in the nation right now, Mark, selling annuities. And Luke and I will only use about 5. So there's a lot of annuities out there that are just not very good. They're internally expensive. The thing that can be problematic about annuity is there's a time frame involved. So if you're giving your money to an insurance carrier, they want to make money off of your money. So that's how they make their money. And usually it's about 1 to 1.5% a year is how the insurance company makes their funds and makes their revenue. But you have to have enough funds that you can put a percentage of your money there where you don't need it from a lump sum liquidity standpoint, but you want income off of it. You want to have those monthly checks. You want to have those annual checks, however you want to set it up. But it's not the solution for everything. Usually, if you look at our industry, the better annuities are typically sold on the insurance only side. The problem with that is most insurance agents are not fiduciaries, and they're, only in the industry for 3 years. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the average, financial guy in the industry is only there for 3 years or less. Mm-hmm. So you buy something that's a 10-year annuity or maybe a 7-year annuity, something like that, there's a high probability that what you bought, the agent's going to be gone, right? So a lot of people get confused. They have a lot of moving parts in them, and then their agents or their company is no longer around to help them with it. So they're stuck dealing directly with the home office with them. So they get frustrated.
A lot of layers to an annuity. If you have a question about one, 321-425-8550. Luke McCarty, Art McPherson just talked about being a fiduciary. Maybe this is somebody's first time checking out the art of money. We throw that word around a lot, but it's a serious word. Define it for us.
Yeah, in simplest terms, it's doing what's in your best interest as the client, right? This used to not be the case in the industry. It's pretty sad to think about it. But, in now terms, right, the fiduciary, right, it's doing what's in your best interest, but I'll kind of elaborate a little bit more. I would say it's having the ability to do what is in your best interest. If you are an agent of an insurance company, you're probably captive, potentially. If you are an advisor of a big, large corporation, you probably have some different guidelines and some rules or a list of things you can do, right? If you're on the independent side like we are, right, we can use banks, we can use insurance companies, we can use custodians like Fidelity and Schwab, we can do private placements, we can do a lot of different things. And I would say that's more of a fiduciary than obviously doing what's in your best interest, but I'd say having the ability to do every type of investment is another layer to that I would add.
And that's why that initial consultation is no cost, no obligation. Art McPherson, Luke McCarty, you're going to personally sit down with them, and they're going to see where are you in your journey towards retirement? What adjustments need to be made? And again, that first conversation, all it costs you is the time it takes to make the phone call, 321-425-8550. And Luke McCarty, we're talking about that initial consultation. Honestly, let's break it down. What can I expect from you and the team the first time I show up to have this conversation?
So the first time you come in to meet us, right, you're going to meet the team. You'll probably meet our CPA, Mark. You'll meet myself or Art or both of us. And then depending on if you've provided some information before the meeting or not, right, that's kind of where we'll start. We'll kind of start, basically getting to know each other. I'm going to ask you, hey, what's the reasoning for you to be here, right? What has happened in your life in the most recent time frame that's, made you want to come into an office like this, right? We just have a conversation. A lot of times it's, gosh, I think I'm taking too much risk, or I lost too much money last year, or I'm in cash, I'm scared, right? What do I do? So there's a lot of reasons for somebody to come into this office, but I think once you do, then you'll start to realize the different things we can do outside of what you initially thought while walking in. So meeting ones, get to know each other, right? See what's going on here at McPherson Financial Group, see what's going on in your life. And the only decision you have to make after that first meeting is if you want to have a follow-up meeting where we come back with some recommendations or some general ideas of investing for you.
Yeah, like I had another client that I've been dealing with this week, Mark, and they have less money, but they have they have a little bit of a pension. They have a couple $1 million that they have saved over the last 35 years, but they're living on about $9,000 a month. And when we went through the numbers for them, if the husband wanted to retire, and I met with him first couple of times, then the wife came in the third time, and she, I think, was very skeptical of the husband, because I think the husband's the one that likes to spend money a little bit more, and she's the saver. And he's like, I think I'm ready to retire, hon. And she's like, well, I need to see from the financial guys if this is really possible or not. But I showed her and I said, no, he's going to be able to retire and you guys are going to have about a 25% pay raise. And her eyes lit up and she's like, all right, this is doable. We can do this. So having those kind of solves and being able to have the situation to be able to lay everything out, kind of go through average case, best case, worst case, you throw it at us, whatever you want us to game plan. We can kind of look at that and say, here's what happens in case of, and make sure that people have a really, really great retirement.
I had a second appointment with the potential client, and I did a little recap of our appointment, right? And I said, here are your options, right? I said, retire early / now, right? Spend more money or give more money away, right? Also consider Roth conversions and getting an estate plan. So none of those recommendations right there involved actually, hey, are we buying the S&P? Are we buying the NASDAQ? These are kind of big picture, right? These clients have, their budget's, very frugal. They have enough money to live off of. So I'm trying to convince them to retire so they can have their next, 10, 15 years of travel and do fun things. But I think that's a perspective a lot of people don't think we will provide. Most of the time when you walk into a financial office and you give your information out, they're going to be, oh gosh, you guys should have saved more, spend less. Well, that's not us, right? We're human too. So we want to give you the easiest path to get to retirement and give you some options and kind of give you our outlook from what we've seen being in this industry for as many years as we have.
Thanks for listening. Want more from Art McPherson of McPherson Financial Group? Find us online at artofmoneyradio.com. We are an independent financial services firm helping individuals create retirement strategies using a variety of financial and insurance products to custom suit their needs and objectives. Securities offered through World Equity Group, Inc., member FINRA and SIPC, a registered investment advisor. Investment advisory services offered through ProStatus Group, LLC. McPherson Financial Group and ProStatus Group, LLC are separate entities and are not owned or controlled by World Equity Group, Inc. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Investment financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. Art McPherson is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Arthur McPherson. Florida Insurance License number A174. 725.
Today's show has been a work of art.